1 by f. If we will do this much time to execute in 1 clock cycles, this time will taken by the 89LP51RD2. And the next feature is fully static operation. Fully static operation between 0 Hz to 20 megahertz. Sorry. So fully static operations. What is the meaning of fully static operations? See, processor has a static core and data is stored in the static RAM rather than dynamic RAM. In the case of static operations, we are going to store the data in static RAM, not in dynamic RAM. So what is the, all of you know that processor has a static core. So what is the meaning of core? All of you know that dual core, quad core, octa core. What is the meaning of that? So this core represents a part of processor. What I will do? The processor will divide in several parts like quad core. There are 4 parts. It means these 4 individual parts will be dedicated for some functions. ऐसे क्या होगा? अगर सिंपल सा एक पूरा प्रोसेसर है तो उसमें कोई भी ऑपरेशन करेगा तो उसी के पास जाएगा. लेकिन अगर प्रोसेसर को हम डिवाइड कर देते हैं वर्चुअली, तो डिवाइड करने के बाद कुछ एप्लीकेशंस दूसरे कोर में, कुछ एप्लीकेशन दूसरे कोर में, कुछ एप्लीकेशन दूसरे कोर में. इसीलिए यू कैन रन साइमल्टेनियस एप्लीकेशंस विथ हाई स्पीड, क्योंकि हर कोर अपना अपना काम अपने टाइम पे करेगा. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई इट्स कॉल्ड कोर. So I am talking about the static operation. So we are using static RAM to store the data. So what is the difference between static RAM and dynamic RAM? Actually, static RAM is based upon the flip-flop, but in dynamic RAM, it based on the storage, store charge. Like in this dynamic RAM, capacitor is there. If the capacitor will charge, it means that you are storing the devices data. If it is discharges, it means that you are deleting the data. So like static and dynamic, but we are talking about the static operations. It also have 2 hardware multiplier. All of you studied a multiplier in DLD. So the multiplier, there are 2 dedicated hardware is there on this 89LP51RD2, and also 60x16 multiply accumulate unit and 256x8 internal RAM. So this 256x8, 16x16, this will indicate the size of data, size of this multiplier, size of the internal RAM. Okay, so the next is, in any microcontrollers, all of you know that at the time of manufacturing, the RAM and ROM will be decided, and this will also manufacture at the same IC. But in the case of 89LP51RD2, one advantage is there. The advantage is you can add 2 KB expanded RAM, 2 kilobyte expanded RAM. You can add extra RAM. But in general, in microcontrollers, you can't able to interface RAM. You can't increase the RAM. So the next is software selectable size. There are different size 0 to 56, 512, 768 is the 1024, 1792, 2048 bytes. You have at the time of programming, you have to decide on which size you want to work on. So there are 7 options are there, and also it has dual data pointers. and 4-level interrupt priority. See that there are, if multiple interrupts occur at the same time, what you will do? How the processor will handle this type of interrupts? Let us consider you have a cell phone or mobile phone. मोबाइल फोन में क्या होता है, कॉल भी आ रही है, मैसेज भी कर रहे हैं, गेम भी खेल रहे हैं, यू कैन डू एनी टाइप ऑफ टास्क, बट द कॉल प्रायोरिटी इज हाईएस्ट. तुम कुछ भी करते रहो लेकिन कॉल आ जाएगा. इफ नेटवर्क इज देयर, call will automatically come. It means that call is having highest priority for mobile phones. Since it is made up of calling only. But nowadays there are several features are added so that you can use multiple tasks at a time. So same type से 89 LP51 RD2 में 4 level interrupt priority होती है. ये डिसाइड करता है कि which priority is important. That priority is decided as a highest priority, and that task will be executed. Okay. The next is non-volatile program and data memory. So it is having 64 kilobyte of in-system programmable flash program memory and 4 KB of EEPROM. So 64 kilobyte non-volatile program memory and 4 kilobyte non-volatile data memory. Now, but you have studied in ROM. ROM you can't able to read the data. Since it defines read-only memory, you can only read the data. But nowadays, we are not going to use that type of ROM. You are using pen drives, you are using hard disks. You can easily delete the data. There is no problem in that. So this type of ROM is called EEPROM, electrically erasable, programmable, read-only memory. So now the operating conditions. The operating condition is it will work as a 2.4 volt to 5.5 volt VCC. Between 2.4 volt to 5.5 volt, it will work fine. If you supply greater than 5.5 volt, it will be burnt off. If you supply less than 2.4 volt, then it will not function correctly. Okay, and temperature range is minus 40 degrees centigrade to 85 degrees centigrade. For any ICs, remember that for any ICs, temperature range is defined in the data sheet. उसके beyond अगर हम जाएंगे तो it may be that IC will not work properly. इसका live examples है. If you will come to the college, go to the microprocessor lab, and you will try to program on any microcontroller or processor, और उसको ऑन करके आप 2-3 घंटे छोड़ दो. After 2 or 3 hours, you can go and you can run the program and you can check the output. It might be you can get some another value. Since at that time the IC is heated up. So that's why you are doing, whenever you are doing the job, you can do, otherwise you will switch off. So now this is the pin diagrams for 89 LP51 RD2. So I'm not going to detail in all the pins since I have to concentrate on only SPI port. Okay. So the SPI port is available in port 1. So port 1 is defining from P1.0 to P1.7. Same way, port 0 is defining from P0.0 to 0.7. Port 2, P2.02, port 2.7. Port 3, port 3.02, 3.7. What about port 4? Only port 4.4, port 4.5, port 4.6 and port 4.7 is there. It means you can use only 4 pins for port 4. And also you can't able to use in general input output for port 4. This is a dedicated input. Like you can see port 4.6 and 4.7, it is written there XTL2A and XTL1A. It means this is used for the oscillator. Any processor or controller without oscillator, it will not function. Okay, so whenever you are seeing the motherboard or anywhere else, wherever controller or processor is there, besides in that, one oscillator will be there. Which type of oscillator will be present in that? That is a crystal oscillator. So crystal oscillator will be present of that. You can see in this pin diagram, every pin is having more than one function, except port 4. But in general 8051 pin diagrams, you are saving some particular pins are there which is used for the 2 or 3 applications. Otherwise, rest of is used for the general input output. So now we have to concentrate only pin 2, pin 6, 7 and 8. Since we have to study SPI port. So I already discussed in SPI port there are 4 pins required. That pins is pin number 2, pin number 6, pin number 7 and pin number 8. Correspondingly pin P1.1, P1.5, P1.6, P1.7. In besides it is written there SS/T2EX, MOSI CX2 MISO, MISO CX3 SCL, SCK CX4 MOSI. So same MOSI pins are available, MISO pins are available, SCL is available and SS is available. So with the help of these 4 pins, you can interface any devices with serial communication protocol. So now we will see about the 4 pins one by one individually. So the first is pin number 2. The pin number 2 is P1.1. That is called SS. It means slave select line or slave select pin. So P1.1 is user configurable input output port 1. You can define either input or output, no problem. Either you can define as a T2EX or either you can define as SS. So P1.1 is also called as bit 1, port 1, bit 1. Same way, if P1.0, then you can tell that port 1, bit 0. P1.5 is there, port 1, bit 5. Okay, so you can also denote that. This is a notation of. So the first P1 pin is user configurable input output. You can configure as an input or output. Next, timer to external capture reload input. This will also work as a capture and reload input. It means that whenever you are using timers, in that timers one mode is there, capture mode. In this capture mode, you have to capture the input. You are capturing the input. So I will discuss in timers what is the use of capture mode, how it will capture the inputs. Okay. So SS is a slave select lines. So now next is pin number 6. The pin number 6 is P1.5, that is called MISO. So the name suggests MISO means master in, slave out. So you can remember like that. If MISO pin is there, then it will work as a master in, slave out. Okay. So P1.5, it is also user configurable input output port 1. This is bit 5. MISO, master in, slave out. So when it is configured as masters, it means that this pin is input. Okay, master in, it means that it's an input pin for master. But slave out, it means that it is output pin for the slave. So the same thing it is done when configured as a slave, this pin as an output pins. Okay, the same case will happen with the MOSI. Master out, slave in. It means that when you configure as a master, this pin is work as an output pin, and when it is configured as slave, then it will work in a input pin. But during in SPI system programming, the pin is an input. When you are not configuring any master or slave, then it will default it is working as an input pins. Sorry. So the next pin is pin number 7. The pin number 7 is P1.6, that is called SCL. Okay, it means serial clock. Now P1.6 is also user configurable input output port 1 and bit 6. Since it is a P1.6, SCK is called SPI clock. So SPI clock, when it is configured as a master, then this pin is an output. When configured as a slave, then this pin is an input. How can you understand that? You can remember the SPI configuration. In SPI configuration, master is responsible for generating the clock. So master is generating the clock. It means that this clock is sent to the slave. So for this purpose, for this pin is working as an input for slave and output for the masters. When it is configured as a MISO pins, then it is master in and slave out. What is the meaning? In that case, the master will behave as an input and slave will behave as an output. But if you are not configuring anything, then this pin as an output pins in default conditions. So whenever you are not able to configure that port or that pins, it means that it will work as a output pins. So P1.5 is input pins and P1.6 is a output pins when you are not configuring anything. Now next is pin number 8, that is P1.7 and MOSI. So P1.7 is also user configurable input output port 1 bit 7, since it is 1.7. So MOSI, same thing, it will indicate that master out, slave in. It means that master is behaving like output and slave is behaving like input. So out means output, in means input. You can remember like that. So master out, slave in. So master will work as a output pins and slave will work in a input pins. Next, SPI clock. So when configured as a master, then pin is an output. See that in the case of clock, always master is behaving as an output pin. Why? Since master is generating the clock, slave don't have options to generate the clock. So only slave will take an input from the masters. And if you are not configuring this pin P1.7, then in system programming, this pin is an input pins default.